30 minutes past hour, number 2, back in Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. We'll get back to the phones in a minute at 800-919-3776. It's 800-SAY-ESPN. But before I do, I wanted to touch on what Kyrie Irving had to say. The Boston Celtics lost to the Chicago Bulls over the weekend. 42 points to Zach LaVine, 35 to Lauri Markkanen. Offset 37 points by Kyrie Irving. The Boston Celtics have lost 4 of their last 6. They're the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. If the playoffs were to begin today, they'd have the 76ers in the first round, with the 76ers having home court advantage. The reality is that the Boston Celtics should still be better than what they've been. They're about 14 games over 500. Nobody can deny that they're still winning more than they're losing. I am of the mindset that Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens made a mistake by just reinserting Gordon Hayward back into the starting lineup at the start of the season. The team hasn't been the same since. They were slower and less athletic with Gordon Hayward, who was coming off that nasty knee injury. I thought they shouldn't have let him come back till midway through the season, and then even then try to bring him off the bench instead of keeping him in as a starter. They did not do that. And because they did not do that, it compromised them. It compromised the play of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. It compromised the play of Terry Rozier. Ultimately, they made the decision that Gordon Hayward would go to the bench and Marcus Smart would be in the starting lineup. And things got better, but still in all, they struggle from time to time. My attitude is Marcus Smart should be coming off the bench again. Put Jaylen Brown back into that starting lineup and let Jaylen Brown with Jason Tatum, Al Horford, Kyrie Irving, and those boys do their thing. That's my opinion. But listen to what Kyrie had to say talking to reporters about why he's not worried at all. And now there's no reason to worry. Listen to this.
You're concerned the struggle that you guys have will leak into the playoffs?
No, it'll be fine.
Why do you think that?
Because I'm here.
Man, I love that, brother Kyrie. And see, I like that. I like that. Because if you're Kyrie Irving, you're looking at the Boston Celtics, and what you're saying is, we're going to be all right. We're going to be in every game. But ultimately, it's going to get to a point where you're going to need somebody to close. You're going to hand somebody the ball and say, take me to the promised land, and that would be me. That's what he's saying. Keep in mind, this is a champion. Keep in mind, it's the same Kyrie Irving that when LeBron James, everybody was raving like LeBron James, like he was a one-man wrecking crew. It was Kyrie that averaged 27 the time they won the NBA Finals. It was Kyrie Irving that averaged 29 even when Kevin Durant was on the floor against them first go round. Kyrie Irving is a bad somebody. And boy, am I praying he comes to New York. But until the summer, I'm not going to jump off this wagon and act like there's not a belief. A reason, rather, to believe in Kyrie Irving, the brother special. He's special. He's something to behold. And I believe in him. Plain and simple. I'm here to tell you. I definitely believe in Kyrie Irving. So I would say to all of y'all, keep your eyes open. Kyrie said what he said. If anybody has the right to do it, he's one of the few who does. And speaking of basketball on the court, James Harden doesn't play Saturday night. The Houston Rockets still beat the Golden State Warriors, led by CP3 with 23 points, 17 assists, who is absolutely, positively sensational. And Houston has beaten the Rockets. Houston has beaten Golden State every time they've played this year. So I know that's reason for y'all to get excited and think that Houston's the number one threat to the Golden State Warriors. Pump the brakes. They're not. That would happen to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and a collective sum of parts that play together. They're better than the Houston Rockets. Houston just has a superstar in James Harden, but they're better than the Houston Rockets. Even though I do love the fact that Kenneth Faried is there and Clint Capella is back. That does upgrade Houston significantly. I thought they made a huge mistake by letting go of Trevor Ariza, but Kenneth Faried can ball. He's an Energizer Bunny in and of himself. I like him. So it'll be real interesting to see what transpires. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Let's get back to the phones. Let's go to Chris. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me.
Yo, Stephen A., what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Talk to me.
Oh, yeah, I heard you say earlier in the show that the Thunder are the biggest threat to the Warriors.
Yes. In the West, sir. In the West.
I disagree with that. I feel like the Rockets are the biggest threat to the Warriors at this point.
Okay. You can disagree. I don't mind, especially with CP3 and James Harden if they're on their game. I don't blame you for that. But I'm just in love with what I'm seeing from Oklahoma City. I really, really am.
No, I can't. I don't know if I can agree with that. I mean, you with James Harden the MVP, you got to give him some.
Man, goodbye. You don't get to call me with your dog barking on the air. What the hell's the matter with you? It's national radio, bro. Get it together. Let's go to Jonathan. You're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Stephen A., first of all, you are the GOAT, the greatest of all time. I am with Levitard and Stugatz. I'm still waiting, and when can we expect the Christmas album?
What do you mean you're with Levitard and Stugatz? I don't understand.
Well, don't you remember they had you on this show, and hey, what you're going to be giving us a Christmas album? You said that they kept
I doubt it. I doubt it. They just troll me. They probably record me when I'm trying to sing and all of that stuff. Show with my non-singing stuff. It's all in fun, though. I'm not mad at them.
You're the GOAT. I love you. I love having you around. It makes my day better.
Thank you, man.
Stephen A.
What did you want to say about Ole Miss?
With respect to the Ole Miss student athletes, are we looking at their draft stock falling? Is this another cap situation, blackball type deal? I mean, what are we looking at?
What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, I think if we're talking about Kaepernick, and we saw how they blackballed him, and now these Ole Miss students are doing the same thing. Is the institutional sort of thing going to step in and do the wrong thing again?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think that's the case because I thought they've handled it as perfectly as it could possibly be handled. They made sure to tweet that this was nothing against our servicemen and women. Number one, they were protesting against the pro-Confederacy groups that were showing up on their campus to spew what was deemed to be hatred. And so when you look at it from that perspective, it's undeniable that, they handled it right because they had the support of the head coach. They had the support of the athletic director as well. And I think because of that, they don't have anything to worry about. Also, I haven't heard of any lottery picks on their squad. I mean, this kid Tyree's their leading scorer and all of that stuff, but essentially I haven't heard much about them as a basketball team in that regard. So I wouldn't get too carried away with that portion of it.
I'm with you. It's more of a social discussion that I think, a social discussion or racial discussion that I'm trying to have with you.
Well, the point
because
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Because I think Kaepernick, the way they treated him was just wrong. And so now we're dealing with the same kind of thing here with the Ole Miss student athletes kind of following suit.
Well, you also have to remember, so we're talking about football where they went about the business of ostracizing him, and they were successful in doing so. That's not necessarily the case in the sport of basketball. First of all, in the sport of basketball, they don't have those problems because the players are unified and they're locking arms, but they're not protesting like that. Secondly, you have a commissioner in Adam Silver that has been very progressive and open in his support of a player's right to express themselves. All right. Thirdly, unlike the National Football League, it is against policy in the NBA to refuse to stand for the national anthem. And so because of that, they could invoke fines and penalties and what have you, and there's no argument that you can make against it because you collectively bargained that those were rules that would be stipulated by the National Basketball Association. The NFL had a rule that stated, we don't demand, but we strongly encourage that you stand for the national anthem. The NBA categorically demands it. That's the difference.
So do you feel that that it's any insult to the service members of the country?
No,
because I don't either.
Nobody's jumped to that conclusion because of the way these folks explained themselves about exactly what transpired and what was going on with those pro-Confederacy groups that were showing up from out of town to protest and march on their campus. They talked about those folks were spewing hate or what have you, and we don't want anybody thinking that that's what we're about here at Ole Miss, and I applaud them for doing so. I got to run, though. I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. If you missed any of the show today, go check it out on demand in the Stephen A. Smith podcast, brought to you by Capital One. Capital One is reimagining banking, offering accounts with no fees or minimums that can be opened in 5 minutes. Capital One. Hey, what's in your wallet? Your calls to close out the show in a minute with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Learn what affects your credit scores and what you can do to improve them with Credit Karma. Maybe you need to dispute an error in your credit report, or you're paying too much interest. Credit Karma can help with that. Visit creditkarma.com or download the app now. That's creditkarma.com.
Need game tickets? Find your seats at